It's Ray's first day at the Arnold Academy of Sorcerers, and on his way in, a cute girl named Wanda accidentally bumps into him. She is flattered by him until she finds out he is the new intake born from an ordinary household. He receives hostile treatment from the students around, who are pissed that he got admission into a school meant for nobles and great sorcerers. Amelia, a charming young lady and daughter from the top 3 noble families, welcomes him on board. During the morning call, Principal Abby gives an inspiring welcome back speech to all students, after which she dismisses them. While Professor Gray introduces Ray to his classmates, the majority of them put on gloomy faces expressing their disgust for being in the same room with a mere commoner. When lectures begin, Ray is lost in his thoughts, recalling some tragic memories when Professor Gray calls his attention. He also has his eyes set on a strange girl wearing a hood at the back of the class. After lectures, he approaches her in the library and finds out her name is Elisa, a half-elf and half-human with beautiful aqua hair. Elisa was always made fun of because of her elf ears, but Ray assures her they look good on her, and they spend time together that day. Ray also has encounters with other students like Evie, his new roommate and workout partner Rebecca, a third-year student from the top 3 noble families, and Clarice, a charming girl who just loves pigtails. It's time for sword practice, and Ray's opponent is Ilium, who dislikes him for being a commoner. The fight begins, and Ray single-handedly destroys Ilium's sword, fascinating everyone who watched. The scene ends with Principal Abby revealing Ray's intriguing swordsmanship is tied to the fact that he is the long-lost Iceblade Sorcerer. Evie introduces Ray to try out for the Environmental Research Club, a club full of hefty built men. After Ray shows his body framework, he is accepted in an instant. He then tries out for the Flower Garden Club, a club with its membership full of girls and, of course, you know how difficult women can be. Ray is given a 7-day task but finishes this task in 4 days and is accepted into the Flower Garden Club. Ray is summoned by Principal Abby and is given a mission to expose the spies that have infiltrated the kingdom and school grounds. Professor Gray leads the class to their first drill in groups of 4. Ray's group is made of Evie, Alyssa, and Amelia. After a day of great teamwork, Ray wonders if he can keep his identity a secret forever, or trust his new friends as his master advised. Ray saves Ilium's group, defeating a huge monster by himself, and Amelia begins to wonder who he truly is. Unknown to them, a lurking spy revives the monster who is now stronger and faster. With Evie, Amelia, and Alyssa's help, the monster is destroyed by Ray, who is thankful he didn't unleash his true powers. Ray's group ends up with the best score at the end of the drill. Ray pays a visit to Lady Lydia, his master. After they talk business, she asks him about his new friends and acknowledges he has become a happier person since he joined the academy. Ray accompanies Elisa to the library, and later, they have lunch with Clarice, who was sneaking around. The next day, when Ray escorts Amelia clothing shopping, he mistakenly gets a full look at her underwear, and this makes her nervous. While Ray has a talk with Professor Gray, who sees his talent, deep in the jungle, Ilium trains hard to get his revenge on Ray. Amelia may have a competition for Ray's feelings because Rebecca also gets flustered when Ray accidentally sees her in her bunny underwear. It's almost time for the Chevalier event, where schools compete for the magic swordsmanship title. Amelia, the #1 representative of Arnold Academy, proposes a duel with Ray. While they duel, Ray gets flashbacks of his past and subconsciously attacks Amelia. Before he gives the finishing blow, he drops his sword to the ground, and Amelia is declared the winner. During lunch, Ilium challenges Ray to a duel in an attempt to destroy him. He introduces a duel with no rules, magic use, and real swords. Ray accepts this, yet has the upper hand in battle. He skillfully cuts through Ilium's spells and brings him to his knees. It is clear that Ray is not just an ordinary student, as he says. An ominous force envelops the arena, bringing all spectators to their knees except Ray. The aura of the ominous presence, also the spy, is revealed to be Professor Gray. Ray figures she put on a facade and has been working undercover for eugenics so she could copy the engram and steal the brains of sorcerers, which was exactly why she introduced dangerous monsters during the drill. The battle begins, and Professor Gray counters Ray's combat style with long-range attacks. Just when a huge blast is about to hit on Ray's friends, he unleashes his true skill and evolves as the Iceblade Sorcerer. Professor Gray goes extreme, inserting a fluid called Dark Triad into her brain that turns her into a beast. She becomes bigger, stronger, and faster, but unfortunately is no match for the Iceblade Sorcerer. At the peak of the battle, Ray keeps her locked in a gem of ice and falls to the ground. From Ray's memories, it is revealed that he was an orphaned kid who luckily fell into the hands of the 7 Grand Sorcerers, the greatest and highest ranking sorcerers in the world. Young Ray chooses to stay with Lydia, and she takes him in as an apprentice. She also teaches him everything she knows, leading him to inheriting the Iceblade powers. Ray awakens to see Lydia, his master, Principal Abby, and Carla by his side. Abby tells Ray the reason he was sent to school was so he could find his purpose and happiness. He had grown into a world of war and terror on the battlefield, and it was time for him to experience something different with his new friends. Carol, one of the Grand Sorcerers and Ray's guardian, is introduced as their next professor, much to Ray's disapproval. Ray notices Amelia is a bit thrown off at Chevalier practice, and when he seeks the issue, he finds out Amelia is under a lot of pressure from losing to her opponent, Ariane, who belongs to the top 3 noble families and was also her good friend. She recalls how their friendship started and how it died after she became obsessed with winning. Ray offers to be Amelia's master to teach her what he knows. She accepts, but begins hiding when she realizes Ray's training is too difficult for her. Alium, now referred to as Albert, has turned the new leaf and is now a calm man who sees the world differently. Ray disguises himself as Lily and heads into Arnold Academy, where Ariane schools. He is so charming and beautiful that everyone admires his beauty. Ariane is fascinated by Ray's approach after revealing his true intentions and agrees to a mock duel with him, for Amelia's sake. Of course, Ariane is not resistant to Ray's charm. While Ray, in Lily's form, walks home, he runs into Maria, who is Rebecca's sister. She promises to enroll in Arnold Academy after seeing how sweet Lily is. Ray takes his friends to see his master, Lydia. While they all have a great time, Carla reveals to Ray that suspicious activity might go on at the Chevalier event, while Lydia speaks with Amelia that Ray noticed she's troubled and assures Amelia that she can trust her friend. The Chevalier competition begins, and Amelia wins her first opponent easily. Albert is grouped against Ariane, and despite his efforts, Ariane remains victorious. It is revealed that the leader of the Environmental Research Club is Carla's brother, and is also part of an intelligence facility. While Ray keeps his eyes on the arena, he suspects an opponent called Lucas. That evening, Amelia locks herself up, consumed by the burden of carrying the weight of being a noble. She only opens up to Ray about it, and they have a heart-to-heart conversation until she's able to sleep. The next Chevalier begins with Ariane versus Amelia, swinging swords while Ray deals with the great threat behind the scenes that has several nobles captured. Ariane kicks the battle to the next gear, and knocks Amelia out. Just then, Ray arrives in the nick of time and calls out Amelia to fight. His voice stirs her up again, and Amelia merges with a new magic materia called the Butterfly Effect. This new power-up makes her invincible to Ariane's attack, and the girls keep going at it till Ariane's flower drops. Amelia reconciles with Ariane and is announced the winner. Finally, she overcomes her doubts with her friends by her side. The final Chevalier begins with Rebecca versus Lucas, and the battle ends in 3 seconds after Lucas uses a peculiar technique. Ray identifies Lucas as the successor of the Peerless Blade Sorcery, and Lucas declares his intention of fighting the Iceblade Sorcerer, proving he is the best. After the closing ceremony of the tournament, while Ray and Amelia plan preparations for the cultural festival, news about Rebecca's engagement reaches them. A secret organization declares its intentions of taking custody of Rebecca, who is a suitable vessel for their plans. When Ray goes to get permission for his class cultural festival, he finds out the students' council tore up after Rebecca's engagement to a council member's betrothed. Sarah believed Rebecca's engagement is more than it meets the eye, so she seeks the help of Ray, who also seeks help from Carla, who belongs to the intelligence facility. The cultural festival preparation is in full swing, and the class looks adorable in their maid outfits, while Ray doesn't hesitate to compliment the girls, his specialty. That evening, Ray walks Rebecca home, and he meets her fiancé, Evan, who is from a mere noble house. It is revealed that Evan is actually after Rebecca's sorcery eyes, and appears to be working with eugenics. Rebecca secretly bears the torment of her decision to marry Evan. Her sister Maria is not left out of the hurt as well. Rebecca consistently gets visions of a child on a battlefield, and she believes that the child shares a striking resemblance with Ray, yet she doesn't confide in him about it. The day of the cultural festival begins with Ariane, Tiana, and Maria in attendance. Ray disguises as Lily in a maid costume, while Principal Abby and Professor Carol stand guard. Maria is visited by a lady called Diaz, with long white hair who gives a prophecy of Rebecca's death, while Rebecca's father seeks Ray's help to save his daughter. The day called the Awakening of the Crews arrives. The perfect day for Evan and his group to carry out their plans. It is revealed that Rebecca harbors a 100-year revolutionary cruise within her, which is a curse passed down in her family, and is also the reason for Maria's albinism. Ray races against time to save Rebecca, who has been captured by Evan. His friends, including Albert, deal with the monsters while he charges onward. The real Evan, dressed in a cloak, appears, and the Evan who captured Rebecca reveals her true identity as Liz. Evan discards his intentions to use Rebecca's cruise to attain a casa and sticks with destroying Liz. He injects a dark triad into his brain and becomes a beast, yet he is killed by Liz before the battle even begins. Lydia, Abby, Carol, and Carla get a taste of the battlefield once again as each of them demonstrate godlike powers. In a burst of emotion, Maria confronts Rebecca about her suffering in silence attitude, and this makes Rebecca's power overheat. After Ray eliminates the man-eater who was Evan's accomplice, he penetrates Rebecca's force field and seals her powers from within, saving her. In the end, everyone is safe and happy together. Ray also introduces his friends to Howard's gravesite. That brings us to the end of today's video, and I hope you enjoyed this recap as much as I did. Please hit the thumbs up button, subscribe, and kindly comment below your thoughts on this anime. Bye and thanks for watching. See you next time.